What is the greatest comeback to an insult you've ever heard? Joe Pine interviewing Frank Zappa. Joe, I guess your long hair makes you a woman. FZ, I guess your wooden leg makes you a table. Air traffic control doing a poor job of vectoring an Airbus A330 in for landing. Pilot, you've left us too high, I don't think we can make the approach. ATC, you've got speed brakes on that thing, don't you? Pilot, after a noticeable pause, yes, but those are for my mistakes, not yours. A dude in my class called out a semi-friend of mine, that people are talking behind his back. In fact, that wasn't the case, as far as I know, and that guy said, well, you know what they say about you? Nothing, nobody fucking cares. English class in middle school. Kid A, yo, Kid B, your mama waited on me at McDonald's last night, must feel like shit having a mom that works at McDonald's. Kid B, at least my mom gets out of bed to go to work. English teacher far louder than he realized. DYUM. The rest of us were laughing so hard, the teacher next door popped her head in to see what was going on. Context: John Oliver from HBO interviews Stephen Hawking, may he rest in peace, J.O., and there may be a universe where I am more intelligent than you. Such, there may even be a universe where you are funny. Many years ago, when we were about 18, a friend of mine was arguing with another person we knew. This person was trying to be a badass and intimidate my buddy. He says, my feet are registered. Without missing a beat my friend replies, where? Health and sanitation. 40 years later I still crack up at this when it comes to mind. Someone yelled out in a Walmart, I'm not ashamed of who I am. Another voice echoed back, that's your parents' job. If you weren't so stupid, what would you be? Asks the husband. The wife replies, without even skipping a beat, single. I expected a better insult from someone of your upbringing and education. I've been called worse things by better people. Not heard, but read. Easily the Spartans reply to Philip II of Macedon. As Philip II of Macedon was conquering Greek city-states left and right, Sparta was left alone. Philip had achieved a crushing victory, and Sparta was relatively weak and without walls. Philip sent a message to the Spartans saying, if I invade Laconia you will be destroyed, never to rise again. The Spartans replied with one word, if. I have a bunch, but one of the more memorable ones was back in 8th grade. For context, I didn't make the basketball team 7th grade, but I made the team in 8th grade. This kid that was on the team the previous year but didn't make it currently was really upset and telling me how bad I am and blah blah blah. I told him that if he is better than me then why didn't he make the team, and he replied with, it's just cause of my grades bro. So I replied with, oh so you're just fucking stupid then? He gave up cause it was either accept that he was bad or accept he was an idiot. So son, dad, you don't know how to make a joke. Dad, I made you. Anything I've thought of more than an hour after the insult. You know those people who tell you to be yourself? Don't listen to them. He's come up with more creative insults, but this is the most memorable. Back in high school, I was in the orchestra. We went on several big national trips each year. One year, a group of upperclassmen were busted for pot in their hotel room. Everyone except one guy was suspended and prohibited to attend future trips. The one guy who wasn't in trouble apparently hid in the shower and played dumb, and they believed him. So a week later the entire orchestra is practicing with the teaching assistant when our conductor enters the practice room, and in front of the entire 114 members of the orchestra, says, Jason, all your friends ratted you out, they're mad, I'm mad, you played me like a fiddle. That's what I play, Jason replied, raising his violin. Overheard some little kids bickering on the train. Little boy, maybe 6 or 7, says to younger girl, maybe 4, you can't even read. She says, oh yeah. Well at least I don't eat my boogers. I have a twin brother, I'm older. He once told me when I came out, they knew it was a mistake and immediately tried again. I told him he was the buy one get one of equal or lesser value free. There was a fight after that one. Was out with a friend who was wearing a silly outfit. Someone came up and said, why are you wearing that? It's not Halloween. He replied with, then why don't you take off that hideous mask? Winston Churchill, of course. Lady Nancy asked her, Winston, if you were my husband, I'd poison your tea. Churchill, Nancy, if I were your husband, I'd drink it. Once some woman was trying to road rage with my dad in a parking lot and he said in a monotone voice to reply to her, why don't you act your age and die? I was in Target, 2 kids and their mom walked past. One kid was singing, the other kid said, "Those aren't even the right words." The singing kid responded without missing a beat, "Yeah, well, this is the remix." I knew a girl in high school who was adopted. She was pretty chill and open about it for the most part. One day in math class, another student cracked a joke about her being adopted, and without a moment's hesitation she shot back, "Well, at least my parents wanted me." It was the best comeback I've ever heard. When your ex calls you stupid, you respond, "You're proof of that." This short guy at a bar was talking shit to my friend and he said, "I'm going to be the bigger man and walk away," to which my friend replied, "You will never be the bigger man." In high school, me and my boyfriend, we were gay, were walking together and some dumbass came up and said, "Why are you guys always together? What are you, gay?" So my man said, "Why, are you interested?" There are approximately 1,010,300 words in the English language, but I could never string enough words together to properly express how much I want to hit you with a chair. Alexander Hamilton to Thomas Jefferson. Edit. Apparently, this didn't actually happen. I'm sure I've heard better retorts, but this is one I vividly remember. When I was about 12, I stopped doing my homework, which frustrated my parents, as I had been a good student. My mom, also frustrated with my father, exploded on me like never before. "You son of bitch," I replied. "Well, what does that make you?" I locked myself in my room for hours. Probably not the best of all time, but here goes. At work one night my crew was cleaning up trash out of the middle of the interstate inside of a lane closure. We get up to where another crew is working on machines, and these guys are assholes. They seriously act like they are God's gift to construction. So the conversation goes as this: "Me, can y'all move over for a second so we can get by?" Douche to his guys: "Come on guys, let's get out of this little lady's way so she can pick up our trash." Douche to me: "Y'all are slower than hell, plus look, you even missed some." Me: "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't think I can fit you in this bag. I'll come back after I open a new one and maybe we can squeeze you in there." Being a lesbian, I get the "you never had a real man" pretty often. Someone stood up for me. Well, no one around here. When I was in high school I had an ancient history class with a teacher named Mr. O'Neill. He was a really educated and well-spoken, but quiet, younger guy, a bit chubby with curly blonde hair, and liked wearing bow ties. In this same class was this kid named Jake, who was one of those kids that always acted like a smartass to every teacher in order to try and get a laugh. He was so annoying he actually had a stapler thrown at his direction by another teacher, which is a whole other story I told the other day. Anyway, I remember one day Mr. O'Neill was having trouble reaching the string to pull down the screen for the projector. He would make little jumps and swat at the string, but just barely couldn't get it. Jake noticed and saw an opportunity, so he yelled out, "What's the matter, Mr. O'Neill? Can't reach?" Him and his buddies chuckled to themselves like a bunch of goons in the corner. Mr. O'Neill replied, "No, Jake. I'm just getting my morning exercise," and then he started touching his toes. It wasn't the most clever comeback, but coming from a guy like Mr. O'Neill it was pretty hilarious. More importantly, it shut Jake up and a majority of the class started laughing at him. Mr. O'Neill became a bit of a hero for being the guy to shut down one of the annoying smartass kids that would always disrupt class. Kid in my class with big ears called me a fairy. Being the cool, fantasy enthusiast I am, I snapped back calling him an elf. He smacked my head on a brick wall for my efforts, but still. Timur, the emperor of the Timurid Empire, sent a chest full of horse poop to the Ottoman Sultan Bayezid, and the Sultan sent back a chest full of sweets and delights with a note that said, "Everybody gifts what they eat." Okay, I don't often outright brag on Reddit, but I'm pretty proud of this one. Pride. Heh, that'll be funnier in a sec, I promise. A lady in one of those motorized carts was parked across the entire aisle at Wally World. After standing there watching her do basically nothing at all for 30 seconds, I got annoyed and squeezed past. She finally shows the first signs of consciousness I'd seen so far, and calls out a caddy, "Patience is a virtue." To which without skipping a beat I responded, "And sloth is a vice." For the record, she clearly wasn't actually handicapped, she was just, what's the next step above morbidly obese, but not quite bedridden yet.